Hello, Steve. Hello, Joe. It's time to game classy.
Oh, hello. This connection is the military planes outside of Antarctica. I'm watching I was watching a Werner Herzog documentary.
Oh, I thought you were making a Thing reference or something like that.
No. But I mean, I guess kinda. I mean, you never know. The Thing could be out there.
He very well could be, or she. It's not.
I guess we should really say Thing isn't it, because it's
Yeah.
definitely just going to turn into whatever it wants to turn into. So,
But that's the thing is like it could change its gender if it wants.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why.
We have to ask the Thing what their preferred pronouns are.
But you got to keep. But then you got to keep asking.
Yeah, I mean, like you would hope that the Thing would be understanding and forgiving and just say like, okay, I'm going by her, she now,
And then it assimilates you.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, no, I know you haven't, but the new season of True Detective on HBO.
Oh, I want to watch it. I heard it's awesome.
Yeah. The first season, of course, is my favorite, but this season, like the first episode, I'm sitting there going the entire time, I'm going like, this is like the Thing, but not like the Thing. And then I realized it's a direct copy of the X-Files season 1 episode Ice, which itself is a ripoff of the Thing.
Right? Yeah, I'll say that's the Thing ripoff episode.
Yes, but it's more like Ice than the Thing, so that's why I'm kind of like, oh, this is weird. Like, did the creator of True Detective just watch the X-Files and go, this episode, this is the episode right here?
I mean, Ice is a good episode. So I mean, if you're gonna rip off an episode of the X-Files, you could do worse.
It's not that great of an episode.
It's not. I didn't say it was that great. I just said it's not that bad. So and you would have been do worse.
It would have been better if Mulder ended the episode sitting opposite Keith David, at a fire. That would have been better.
That would have been pretty fire.
Did Keith David ever guest star on the X-Files?
Not that I remember.
No, I was gonna say I don't really think he ever did. It might have been a later season that I don't remember as well, but he definitely did not guest in like the first 5 seasons.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, maybe he did. No, I don't know.
It's a weird one to have missed, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so Keith David's an interesting one because like Keith David is an unmistakable it's also easy to forget what he's been in because he's just that prolific.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I don't know. I remember him yesterday because we were watching Has Been Hotel, and Keith David does have a voice in it.
That's funny. I remembered him yesterday for a completely different reason. I was watching a speed run of the old Gargoyles video game.
Dun 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 dun.
Whoever cast that show is a huge Star Trek fan. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I would. Are you kidding me? If I had the ability to do any show whatsoever, if it was a police procedural, it would be all X-Files people.
That's a good call.
Yeah. Wait, I'm looking up Keith David on the X-Files. So we're gonna see this.
Yeah, I was. It's funny because that's like a similar story to the guy who did the voice cast for Fallout New Vegas. I was listening to a documentary of someone else who did voice there, and he's like, yeah, and I kept meeting these people, and I was like, yeah, I like. He's like, oh, I know that actor, and he's like, yeah, he's really cool, and he's like, yeah, he was in Star Trek, and he's like, and then I met the next guy to do it was the guy who did the voice recording, who did the mastering, and he's like, and the next actor came in, and I was like, oh, I know this actor too, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's also from Star Trek. Wait, and then you find out that the casting director was just a massive Star Trek nerd. So like that's why so many voices in Fallout New Vegas are Star Trek actors.
I mean, I would do, as I said, I would do the exact same thing, except I would go deep cuts too. I'd bring in like people from DS9.
That's what it was. Mr. House. Mr. House is Odo.
There you go. Well, Rene Auberjonois is Auberjonois, whatever his last name is. He's just a famous actor in general.
True.
Like if you're going to remember him from anything, it's like 99% of the human population, if they're going to remember him from anything, it's not going to be from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, well, they'll remember him in a role that they don't know that he played, which was the chef in The Little Mermaid.
Well, they'll probably remember him more from Benson, but
I've never seen Benson.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm saying. You're not a normal human being.
I mean, I'm not going to argue that statement.
You're a normal human being, but not a normal human being.
Yes, a real human being.
Oh my God. Someone on Reddit mentioned that movie again, Drive. And I'm just like, my God, autists are just excited to see representation in movies. That's all it's got to be.
I mean, it's true.
Oh,
I like Drive though. I think
it's fine. It's one of those movies that I don't like because of how much people like it. Like, I don't think if it had as much love or as much like rabid fan base, I'd probably like it a lot more.
Yeah, that's a movie that I saw when it was new in theaters. I saw that at the Hollywood Boulevard, and I had an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, the Schwarzenegger.
The Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Their food has gotten so salty.
Is it?
I haven't been there in years, but
yeah, same.
Probably since the. Well, now that we moved, I'm no longer going to Hollywood Palms, so I could go to
Boulevard.
I think the last time I was at Hollywood Boulevard was I saw Shatner. May have been.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been something a little bit later, but I think Shatner was the last time I was there, and that was a while ago. All right, everybody, welcome to Game Class E.
I was going to say special shout out to Keith David for the best fight scene of all time in They Live.
Yes, we are 299 episodes deep, and we still don't have a plan on what we're doing here. So,
did we ever have a plan? Was there even a plan to have a plan?
What's the plan? What's the plan? Do it now.
There was no plan. We never had a plan.
No, we never had a plan.
Yeah, there was no.
Yeah, we're. I like how Steve and I have episode 300 coming up, and we're just like, should we do something? Yeah, and that's literally what our plan is for the episode 300. Is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could talk about how we're kind of old.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. Yeah. We could talk about how we've seen the rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall of the old world.
Of Megamind?
Of Megamind. Yes, of Megamind.
Yeah.
And the B movie. How the B movie has gained cult status over the last 10 years.
Because of copy pasta. That's why.
Yeah, pretty much. And the fact that woman really wants to have sex with a bee.
Also, we were talking about it. And I said the one thing that I really didn't want to have happen, I am now starting to see, and it's really annoying. But yes, I saw my very first YouTube recommended The Phantom Menace, underrated masterpiece.
Yeah, it has, you know what? I blame Star Wars fans for that. You know why? I blame Star Wars fans for that. Because they didn't do enough to say how bad that movie was so that younger kids ended up growing up liking it. There was no shame. There was no shaming the younger crowd. That was the reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you're also in a situation, I suppose they could always do the that could also have the opposite effect where you try and shame them and they like it more because you don't like it.
It's very true.
Because you're an old square, so obviously you don't like it because you're old and lame.
I blame the toxic positivity of the nerd community in the last 10 years. Like how it's like, you shouldn't hate things. You should love everything and be welcoming and blah, blah. I'm like, no, it never works out. Because then you end up liking the Phantom Menace.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Phantom Menace is absolutely fucking unbelievable.
The only time that you're allowed to like the Phantom Menace is if you meet someone who hates it more than you do and you just troll them with it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, being contrarian is its own thing, but that's.
Yes. As I've said, I firmly believe that meme is you and I, where it's like, listen, man, I'm all about discourse, but that's not what this is about. This is about taking a chair and hitting a person as hard as you can with it.
That's right.
That is the Game Classy motto. Anywho, let's talk gaming. Did you happen to
talk gaming? Talk.
Did you happen to peruse the Las Vegas Open previews?
I did not. No. I heard there's a lot of action though. I haven't seen anything, but I've heard. So I'll just bring it up now because I can do it.
A lot of full frontal action, as well as rear action, as well as little mouth action.
Yeah. I know they showed the orcs.
So that was yesterday. They showed the orc and goblin release, which is hysterical.
I do like the new character on foot. Yes. The two new characters on foot, I should say. The Black Orc War Boss. Yeah, the Black Orc War Boss, and then there's a new caster. Wizard. However, I was horrified to find that they're in resin, so I will not bother buying those figures.
Well, I think the Night Goblin set that they're re-releasing, that was originally for when they were going to do that Blackfire Pass book. Remember for 8th edition?
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Still makes me sad that they never released that.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be like this really cool. So for those who don't remember, who are young enough, but probably most of our listeners are old grognards, they remember Forge World did a series of books for 8th edition fantasy, and it was Tamarkan, which was an amazing book.
Yeah, Tamarkan was fucking dope.
Then they did like the Monster Scrolls. Well, I can't remember the name of that book was, but it was all about just different Forge World monsters that they had made, like the big resin monsters. So it would have like the Praeton and the water, or the big sandworm. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
So they had those 2 books, and they were going to do a 3rd book, which was about Blackfire Pass, and it was going to have all of like Empire and dwarves and goblins and orcs, and it was going to have like a really cool narrative with the Marienburg land ship and all this fun stuff. And they just they had a bunch of other kits that just never got released because I think that the person who was writing it died. It may have been Alan Bly.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah, I think that might have been part of the reason it was canceled. It might also have been canceled because 8th edition just was not selling, period.
Also true.
And none of those kits were selling from Forge World.
Also true.
Yeah. Forge World at that time was suffering from like the worst version of people want to buy our shit, but it's so prohibitively expensive to get to the United States.
Oh, right.
That, they can't actually buy it.
Yes, and that's well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that because like Forge World resin, that's exactly why I wouldn't buy the new figures, because if I'm going to be forced to work with resin, I'm doing 3D printed. Like, I will just buy off Etsy or maybe get you to do something for me. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay a premium to deal with resin like that.
So the new minis, I don't think are going to be resin. They're probably going to be plastic. So the new Black Orc General and the new Wizard are probably going to be plastic.
No,
the returning resin are the old Forge World pieces.
The new ones are resin confirmed. The Caster and the Black Orc General are confirmed resin.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. Where'd you confirm it? I haven't seen anything confirmed. I'll believe it when I read it. Is it from a
It's on the Warhammer community page.
I don't see it on here.
Look underneath their picture.
Oh, they are cast in Forge World resin. Okay, well, anyway, Steve has been confirmed. Correct.
And then the returning resin is different, but still, I mean, I'm gonna go 3D printing if I have to work with resin. I don't want to pay a premium for that shit.
Plus, there's plenty of other better looking Black Orc bosses and or wizard casters. Yeah,
well, if they were plastic though, I'd grab them in a heartbeat if they're plastic.
Yeah. So, but this release is hysterical because like the army box is like the big box you're gonna buy is literally just like, yeah, here's 40 orcs and 40 goblins and 2 chariots. Have fun.
I mean, that's a pretty good looking orc box. Not gonna lie.
No, I agree with that. I just think it's like the least sexiest box I've ever seen.
It is not sexy, but it's what you want.
I get it's what you need is what it is.
Yes, yeah. Yes, it's not sexy. It's what you need. Yes, that's what it is.
I need some sex in my orcs and goblins release.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's the troll hag.
They're okay. Yeah, you got me there. You got me twice, Steve. Got some big old droopies on that. Yeah. Which is funny. They're doing those returning resins and the new things resins, but the goblin bosses are all coming back, and like there's a ton of metal coming back too, including the rock launcher, the rock lava.
Yes, they're lobbing rocks, bro.
Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't see the rock lava. Oh wait, no,
it's in the metal. Yeah. It's in the list of metal re-releases.
Yeah.
New Lemon Russ.
Oh well, we'll get to that. We're still in the orcs right now.
That's the most exciting thing.
So yeah, we're and they're bringing back. What I'm excited about is they're bringing back the Marauder Giant.
Yes,
did you see that?
Yes, it's very cool.
I might actually have to pick that up. I mean,
that's not a bad call.
Yeah, I might have to pick that up, and I might want to pick up some of the old metal Stone River trolls because I've been looking to get those, just like a small unit for my orcs. I might just do the rock.
I do like the stone trolls. The stone trolls are such a classic. That like the one with the big doofy Popeye is just so iconic.
Yeah, and you know what the funny thing is I had like 1 or 2 of them, and I gave them away to people just like years ago, just for friends who are like, yeah, I'm working on blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, you want here, just take this, as a friend. And I don't regret it, but I also kind of regret it.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. That the Marauder Giant is coming back. I mean, I like the Marauder Giant, but like I would say it's really funny that the other giant, the one that came right after the Marauder Giant, was such a downgrade. Yet it was the newer model.
I love that kit. I think that model is amazing.
The Marauder Giant's great.
No, not the Marauder, the one that came after it.
Oh, the metal?
The metal one. I love that kit.
I like the Marauder Giant way better.
I want to say I have 2 or 3 of those medals. I have one that I know I have built. He's in my Orc and Goblin army right now. You could see it on my Instagram account. Mm-hmm. And then I think I have one in the box still. I might have 1 or 2 in the box. I don't remember what I have. But yes, I have at least 2 of those giants, and I really like them. I like them better than I like the plastic giants that were released.
The plastic giant's okay. I don't know. The plastic giant, the plastic giant's kind of like I have mixed feelings about the plastic giant.
The plastic giant is an overproduced kit, and when an overproduced kit, and I mean by that is that it's too complicated of a kit. No kit should be that complicated. I know there's lots of options and fun stuff for that, but the problem is not the options. The problem is the pose. It only has one fucking pose.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
The problem.
I think that's what my problem with that model is, actually, now that you mention it, because when you have multiple, it just starts to look weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all doing that, like they all have their arm at that one specific angle.
Yeah, and their legs are all in one specific pose. It doesn't look right. And I appreciate it. It's fine that what they did, but it's. I just think that it's just kind of a boring model.
I mean, I think it's good to have one.
Yeah, I have 2 that I converted to the Giants of Albion back in the day.
Gotta love the Giants of Albion.
Yes, Ballogs and Ketchor. I have the originals too. Maybe I should get those out for an Orchid Goblin army. Those old deadly dogs who were giants. They're so ugly. The worst models ever.
I don't know. Some of those old metal ogres are pretty fucking bad.
It's true. Hey, okay, so here, you want to hear an old Grognard story from me?
I'm ready.
I bought my Giants of Albion and my Goldfags Mercenary Ogres from the Games Workshop website back in 2002.
Nice.
When they used to have a clearance section. They used on the Games Workshop. Yes, this is true. On the Games Workshop website, they used to have a section that you could go to that would have like, hey, we're selling these models super cheap. Buy them up and we'll ship them to you. Right?
It's true.
And I did that. I think I also got a bunch of old Empire flagellants, like the ugly ones before 6th edition.
Ooh. From
them as well. Those are the only things I can remember truly buying from them, but I probably bought more. But yes, that's old school. That's almost 25 years old at this point. 22 years old, 3 years old. God, I can't even do the timing correctly. But anyway, yeah, the Orc and Goblin stuff is coming out. And they have the new book with them, which I will at minimum pick up the $20 Arcane Journal, $30 Arcane Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the Nomadic Wah and the Troll Horde. So 2 interesting ideas.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Troll Horde, of course, you'll be able to probably have trolls as core units, but
yes,
well, I guess you could use the newer trolls for that as well. They might not fit on the bases though. Those trolls are big.
I don't know. Well, I mean, you might have to get bigger bases. Also, I think we missed this one. I don't think it was a new pre-order from this weekend. But did you see that they did an Ionis Cryptborn Stormcast? Like he's a dude. He looks like a Space Marine chaplain on a dragon.
I think we talked about him, didn't we?
Did we? I don't remember. I mean, he's fucking cool as shit. I do not remember talking about him though.
Well, yeah, it's a very cool model. The dragon is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The Ionis Cryptborn is a cool model as well. I would just, if I was going to get that model, if I was going to get that kit, it would just be for the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, well, the dragon's dope. I like Cryptborn too, but it's just cool. That's all.
Yeah. So some releases. Let's go. I'll go small to big, or just top to bottom. Kill Team they got a new Kill Team set. They got some Dark Elf Mandrakes that you're gonna get, and the what's it called, the Night Lords that were previewed. I only mention this because the Night Lord models will be great for 30K. So if you play Night Lords, it's perfect for that.
Yes.
Aside from that, why are you playing 40K, man?
Because sunk cost fallacy. I don't know. Actually, I heard the new edition's pretty good. So
Sunk cost fallacy. No, it's actually funny. Who I was talking to last weekend was Redman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he came over and played some D&D with us, and we were just talking back and forth about, because he's playing AOS right now, which I thought was fun, interesting. And he's and I was like, oh, so no 40K, and he goes, oh no, it's not really speaking to me this edition. I thought that was interesting from Josh, who is a huge 40K fan.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, AOS is really good right now. So
yes, but did you see the amount of hate it got in the stream?
What, AOS?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people hate it because it takes attention away from 40K.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, that's literally what it is. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding you. Like, it's literally what it is. It takes attention away from 40K, so they hate it.
I get mad because all these games take away from Gorka Morka.
Yeah, like no, that's literally what it is. It's like they hate on Age of Sigmar because they play 40K, and people aren't talking about 40K when they're talking about Age of Sigmar.
So they also previewed the new Warcry 2 Warband box set, Pyre and Flood, which is weird.
Ghosts are fucking awesome.
Do they have the most?
They do have the most. I can confirm they have the most. Yeah, the ghosts are cool as shit.
I should paint them up in Beetlejuice colors.
You should. That's a good color scheme.
That's actually a good idea for a paint scheme for the Night Haunt. Is do them up in like not Danny Elfman, Tim Burton style, like with stripes and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like really gaudy reds and whites. I think that would look really amazing. Actually, red, white, and black.
Yeah, that would look sick. You do. You have the also he's got the pink inner shirt.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing is like you just look at like the Tim Burton color palette and do that.
Yeah. No, that'd be good. And then you can do the Beetlejuice hair for the smoke, and then just the pale skin for or the pale skin color on Beetlejuice for the bones and stuff.
Yeah, you could do like big circles around the eyes, a little green around the mouth and teeth. I think that could work.
And then your characters should all be in Beetlejuice's wedding tuxedo color scheme. Nice fucking model.
Model.
I still can't believe they managed to sneak an F-bomb in there.
Yeah, well, was it a PG-13 movie or only PG?
I believe it was a PG film.
It was early PG-13 era. Beetlejuice came out in what, 89, and PG-13 started in 85. So right around there.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is PG. Parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, it's true. We're going for your daughter, Chuck. And then they also have the elves in there. What? No, I'm sorry, not elves. The Lumineth.
God, Beetlejuice is such a fucking banger.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, the Lumineth. The Lumineth look like Harlequin to me.
You know what they look like? They look like Rackham models.
Also true. Well, I mean, we know there's a bunch of Rackham sculptors working for GW now.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I was looking at those models. I was like, man, those are some really Rackham looking models.
Yeah,
especially the ones with the face plates, like the full face plate. That is like Rackham and a half.
Also, I'm super fucking hyped about the Callus and Toll models.
Yes, we'll get to there. We'll just go into that next. So that is the Callus and Toll are two characters from the books, right?
Yes, yeah, they're it's a witch hunter and his like bro.
And his bro. Well, they can be life partners. Let's be progressive. They're life partners.
I believe if I'm not mistaken, I believe Callus is only interested in Sigmar in that way.
Ooh, so he's polyamorous.
That's right. But yeah, no, it's fucking dope. It's Callus and Toll's a really cool series. It's very like maybe not noir. It's like so it's basically like they're doing shit like clandestine operations and like go into like do investigations because one of the first I don't want to spoil anything. I'd recommend anyone reading the Callus and Toll book, even if you're not big on the Age of Sigmar lore. Callus and Toll kind of stands alone. It's by itself. It's quite good.
Okay. I do like the thief model with the rope. I don't know who that's supposed to be, but I think that's a really cool looking pose just for a model.
Those are I don't know. Those are new characters. Those are supporting cast from this book. Sounds like.
Okay. The old lady is also cool, but it looks like a Necromunda model.
Yeah, she does. I mean,
And then-
I agree with that statement up top to bottom.
And the Stormcast is a Stormcast. He's cool looking, but
Yeah, I really like his back banner. I think his back banner is fucking cool as shit with the skeletons with the key.
yeah, it's cool. I think
that's really cool. I like that a lot. And he's got a good boy, so you know.
Yeah, he does have a what is a demigriff? That's what they're called.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they're all great models. I think they would actually I think work really well for Curse City.
Yeah, or RPGs or whatever. I mean, I assume they're gonna have rules for AOS. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Those are gonna be a choice you can take in Cities of Sigmar and or Stormcast armies, no doubt.
So we're getting to the end of the Dawnbringer cycle for Age of Sigmar, and they're doing Shadow of the Crone. That's a weird looking fucking model.
I really like that model. That model is Dark Souls as fuck.
There is someone working in the design studio who absolutely loves bare feet. Like there's been so many barefoot female models coming out lately that the guy has to have a foot fetish.
You know what? Shout out to that guy. He's a fucking hero.
You know what? And that's the thing is I'm not kink shaming him, but it's like it's seriously like when you go on DeviantArt and you're looking like, oh, this picture's really cool. It's like, oh wait, this guy's a foot fetishist. It's like everything's like abstract or like, you know, kind of like okay, but then you get to the foot and it's immaculately drawn.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, I said there's no more organized fetish on the internet than the foot fetish community. So
it's true. I mean, for me personally, I like when it's subtle. I don't like the ones that are like blatantly like a giant foot in your face. That's not my style.
I am not necessarily a foot guy. I appreciate a good foot, but it's not like it's a thing for me. So I will stay out of that argument and just allow the expert to comment.
So I'm a footman.
I'm a footman.
I'm a footman.
Yes, I am not that's not necessarily my bag, yo.
What about this book you wrote that says "It's my bag, baby"?
Foot fetishism. It's my bag by Joe.
Baby.
I mean, whatever. But it's definitely a Dark Souls-ish model.
Yeah, I like that figure. It's cool.
I don't know. There's something about it. Like maybe it's the hair in front of the face that bothers me. There's something about it I don't like. But...
I think it fits in very well with the Daughters of Cain aesthetic.
Yeah. Stupid reason we can't have dark elves in Old World.
Well, did you look to see if the timing was right on that thing that someone postulated?
That what?
That the reason that the Dark Elves aren't in Old World is because the timeline, there literally aren't Dark Elves yet.
No, that's incorrect. Completely, 100%.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so I didn't actually check that. That was just something that someone postulated.
No, the High Elf Dark Elf split was like 1,000, 2,000 years before that even happened. The events of all that happened.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know the time frame of what where the Old World was happening like off the top of my head. So
I want to say, if I remember correctly, now it's been a long time since I read any Old World stuff, is that the Dark Elves were around when the War of the Beard happened, or maybe it was after the War, after the War of the Beard.
I think it was right after the War of the Beard.
Yeah, and that was, you know, however many thousand years before all that stuff that's going on right now. No, the as I've said, the reason
Dwarf Army,
all of those armies that are listed in as not being supported by the Old World, they're not being supported because all of those armies are going to feature heavily in the next edition of Age of Sigmar, which is coming out in the spring, or being announced in the spring, coming out in the summer.
Right, and also I think we mentioned it before when we were first talking about the Old World, but they did say that those armies are not in this edition.
Yeah.
So just wait. If you're a big old Skaven fan, I mean, Old World already has had one of the. I thought Old World was going to be popular. I did not expect it to be this popular.
Yeah, I didn't either.
We could for it. Holy shit.
Yeah, so we did the right after we recorded. The next day was the pre-orders for today. Actually, we're recording on drop day. I'm going with my buddy Mick. We're going up to Games Plus today. I'm going to pick up. I got all the rule books on pre-order.
There has been shipping issues, so make sure you check the store that they actually got their stock.
Already called them on yesterday, so
Very.
I was like, "Hey, is the old world stuff still come dropping on Saturday?" And they were like, "Yeah, we got it all in." So
yeah. Well, there's shipping delays, so some stores may be affected anywhere. So just I guess it'll be too late if anyone's leaving today by the time they hear the podcast. But if you haven't gone yet.
The podcast will drop tomorrow, so they will already know if their store has their shit in.
That's true. Yeah, fair enough.
And it's because in the United States right now we're at the tail end of like this awful fucking weather phenomenon where we've just had snow and cold for 2 weeks straight, or just a week straight, because now we're at the end of it, and it's every time it snows now like the city doesn't even care anymore. They're like, should we send out the plows? Nah. It's gonna eventually just melt. We're at that part of whatever storm season we're at. But of course, I think it's Nashville, right? Is that where the distribution hub is?
I think so, yes.
The distribution hub for Games Workshop, I think, is still in Nashville, and I think they got like a foot of snow. So of course, or they probably got 2 inches of snow. So of course they can't handle it because it's Nashville.
Right, they're not equipped for any amount of snow.
They're not equipped for anything.
Also true.
This is like if they had put the Games Workshop factory or distribution center in Chicago, that stuff would have already been delivered. You know why? Because we don't care about the snow. We'll bitch and moan about it, but we don't let it bother us.
And Chicago Teamsters.
And Chicago. Hey, what you got there? I got a box of the old world.
Hey,
you're getting sausage grease on that.
Ah, jeez, you spilled my beef all over the box.
You spilled my cup of hot marinara all over the box. I was drinking that.
I was drinking that marinara. It spilled all over the goddamn box.
Chicago meme. I did see a person posted a meme about a salt truck salting the roads, and it just said celery salt on the side, and it made me laugh.
That's awesome.
I feel like such a boomer, but that made me laugh.
That is funny. That is funny. Oh, did you? I forgot. Something I noticed that I wanted to point out. Did anyone else notice that they actually did some updating on some of the old models? I was looking because there's now an alternate. So this is specifically for the Tomb Kings. They're the only ones I noticed because I noticed it fucking immediately because I'm a fucking psychopath for that miniatures range.
Well, the Bone Giant head's different.
And the Casket of Souls has an interior now.
Oh, does it? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's got a cool looking like pit of sand with like a screaming fucking creepy face in it.
That's like a level 3 autistic thing to notice. I mean, I'm not.
and of course the Bone Giant has a different head, but then also there's
or level 1, I should say. Let's start at the bottom, not go from 3 to 1. Let's go from 1 to 3.
Very good. There's also a third carrion model now instead of just the previous 2.
The third carrion model, I thought maybe have been an unreleased model that they just never put in.
I don't know if it was unreleased or not, but wherever it came from, there's now a third.
How about that unreleased Bretonian that they're releasing?
Should have kept that guy in the vault.
Yeah, that's not the best one. I mean, it has that chunky cape, that chunky like.
I mean, the face is pretty. The face is kind of unforgivable. That's really bad.
Yeah, my feeling is it was one of those like sculptor test models that they used to make people do, like to submit. So like they used to have like the sculptors do test models to like become part of the design studio, and then they would say like, okay, well, this will go, like, we might release it, we might not release it. Usually that shit got released for Mordheim.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the miniature is fine for the time frame it was sculpted, except for the head, which even at the time would have been unacceptable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It probably was like a Mordheim practice model, or
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that head's bad. But
anyway, we were talking about the release stuff, and a lot of the stuff like the cards and dice.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Fucking goddamn, it was brutal.
It was brutal. That's like why like that release was so insane. Yeah. No one expected it to be that much.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to get I went on as soon as the pre-order went live. I literally just tried to get the limited goods. So like the stuff that was like, this is, it's web exclusive and it's, while supplies last stuff. So that would be like the dice, the cards.
Yeah.
You know, all the stuff. You know, again, just basically anything that was limited, I tried to get. It sold out before I could check out.
Yeah, I mean that's why
that's how fast it sold out. That is crazy.
I literally went to Games Plus that day and was just like, "Hey, can you put this on pre-order for me?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Nice."
I couldn't. Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff I was looking for is web only, so I was. I couldn't. I was fucking. Yeah, I was just so surprised. I couldn't believe it.
The only thing that I'm really I'm gonna try and see if I could track down the cards, not get it scalpered. But I'm gonna see if I can track down getting some of the cards. That's like the only thing that like exclusive or limited print that I want.
Yeah.
So just because I think like reference cards will make the game so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe they sold out so fucking fast, dude.
If I can't get it, I might make my own reference cards just because I think it'll make the game super easier.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm probably gonna use Magic Set Editor and just make my own. Yeah,
there's a company I use every once in a while called Custom Playing Cards. They're an online thing. They're a little pricey. It's from makeplayingcards.com.
Mm-hmm.
I have done stuff through them for certain games, and every time I've ordered from them, I have just been overjoyed by what I've gotten. It's super nice. Everything looks beautiful. The cards are high quality. I've never had an issue.
Send me that link when we're done.
The only thing is that you kind of have to have an artsy eye, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of got to know, like, okay, I can't use this. It's a low resolution. I have to do this. There's a little bit of work that you have to put into it if you're making like a specific custom cards.
Yeah. Oh, Send me that link. That sounds like something I would actually like to use.
Yeah, go to it. So let's see. We also have we talked about that. Calson told. So the Underworld's Death Gorge, which is the new 2D10 name generator pulled up, has Zandara's Grave Breakers. Which is they're a zombie set, and the zombies are really nice. I actually kind of really like the zombies.
I love the dude with the shovel.
What about the good boy?
Oh yeah, he's great too. I'm a fan.
Yeah. It's like I don't know if it's a werebat or a werewolf. It's an okay model.
Yeah, he's just cool.
Yeah. As you and I always say, it's like, man, that game is still going, huh?
It's still going. I mean, well, the changes they made it make sense. So now you can actually like. The barrier to entry isn't ridiculous anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a huge thing.
And finally, not finally, but probably the second biggest story is the Kroot Hunting Pack. So they're finally releasing Kroot for 40K for the first time since 4th edition or 3rd edition. I think it was 3rd edition was when the tower initially released.
Yeah, I think that was Yeah, and they didn't do any new Kroot other than 3rd, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 3rd edition was when the Kroot were released for the first time, and you got the Kroot, Krootox, Kroot Hounds, and that was it. Now they're re-releasing, they're doing a new release of the Kroot in plastic, which I'm kind of excited about because I always thought the Kroot were a cool idea for an army in 40K.
Yeah, I agree.
I really like the sculpts, I like the design. They just never really did anything with them. So now they're doing new release with them, new sculpts, and they have new Krootoxes. And it's like a Krootox Cavalry too, which look pretty sweet.
Yeah, they look fucking dope.
Yeah, and they say that there's more to come, so we could hopefully they'll have the new Kroot Hounds, and maybe they might do the big. Remember the big Forge World one, the big Kroot.
Yeah, that thing was fucking sweet.
With the ballista or whatever it was.
Yeah, that thing was fucking dope. I like that thing a lot.
I don't remember what it was called, but that thing was really badass looking.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll do something like that for the Kroot. Maybe give them a vehicle or something.
Yeah. I mean, you got to figure they have some sort of tech, right?
You know what'd be neat to do is give the Kroot like a Tau devilfish, but with like Kroot sprues so that you could decorate it with like skulls and shit.
Oh, that'd be cool. And that's a smart way to do that release too. Is you just release the old kit, but you add companion sprues.
Yeah, you just add a companion sprue of like maybe a Kroot tank commander and like some like decorations for the hull.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be too fancy. And maybe like, and a decal sheet for it.
Remove the decal.
Remove the decals. Tim and Dave were over and they were clipping out some decals and they're like, you got a pair of scissors I can use? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I gave them I'm like, these are my decal scissors.
That's funny.
So yeah, that was a really cool release that they're putting out. And then finally, I think the big news from the release is they're doing plastic solar auxilia for the Warhammer Horus Heresy.
Yes, the venerable Lemon Russ.
They are doing a re-release, a new version of a plastic Lemon Russ.
Yes, that's the biggest news of all. The new Lemon Russ. They're finally. They're not retiring the kit, as far as I know. There's just a new one now.
This is just a new design for it. It's for $30K, but it still would work. The difference is, and people need to realize this before they get the kit, is that $30K Leman Russes don't have sponsons.
Yes.
So if you pay for sponsons in $40K, you have to get sponsons for your $30K tank.
Yes. Luckily, there's like a million bajillion fucking options for sponsons.
Yes. The one thing I think I absolutely hate with this release is the fucking color scheme that they picked for it. It is so ugly.
It's very green.
Oh, and it's like, that's the thing is like, it's not even that green. Like, it's just a few pieces of the armor are green, but the green contrasts so poorly with the gray and silver that it makes me want to gouge my eyes out.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. To me, the entire thing just looks like a green blob because of the color choices.
Yeah, you open it up and you're like, grain.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like, green.
You don't know how often that happens to me when I'm looking at a paint scheme and I just go green,
brown,
red.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't. Oh fuck, I can't wait.
Like a nice
world, man.
Yeah. And then they're doing. So they have the plastic solar auxilia, which are always been like a relatively cool looking army, and I think everyone kind of predicted it when they released them for Imperialis, because. For those who don't know, Games Workshop does all their sculpting in 3D now. So like the same shit that I print out, they do themselves. But they had it down to like the 8mm scale. You could scale miniatures up from like, if I just have a file of a guardsman, I can make it whatever size I want. I can make it like Bandai sized, or I can make it McFarlane toy sized. It doesn't matter. I can do it.
Yeah, I think the opposite. I think they do the opposite though, right? You sculpt it big and scale it down, right?
No. For like 3D sculpting, you could sculpt it any size you want. And in actuality, for 3D sculpting, you don't want to sculpt it too big, because if you sculpt it too big, when you scale it down, you lose the detail.
I see.
Yeah, so you want to sculpt it kind of to the scale you want it to be at.
Okay.
So that's so they're releasing the dudes. They have the new Sentinel, which is like a heavy Sentinel. It's pretty cool looking. It's whatever. They have the plastic Leman Russ. They have a plastic Dracosan, which is like the transport. It's like a big heavy transport. And then they're doing a plastic Melkador tanks, which are pretty cool looking. I have one that I 3D printed a while ago because they had done a 3D print for resin for Forge World, and all those got released, and I think that's where I got it from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure on that. If someone sculpted it themselves, it's a really good sculpt of it, because I think it's pretty authentic looking.
Yeah.
But everyone's excited about it because it's a cool plastic guard release, and there hasn't really been. The only plastic guards right now are Arcadians. So this is your only second plastic guard army that you have out there.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, you could use them as just regular guard in your army. But as I said, if you want to make sure that if you're running it, your plastic tanks do not have the new plastic Russes don't have sponsons, so you got to get some sponsons for it.
Yes.
3D print.
So, yeah, I mean, buy them off Etsy.
Yes, or buy them off Etsy.
Oh, actually, speaking of which, is that price that I sent you? Is that good? Should I just buy those from Etsy? The Tomb Kings minis?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even look at the price. I just kind of assumed that it was overpriced from whatever it was.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess let me know later.
Yes, I will let you know.
Cool. Very good.
Oh, so you get all of those. Like, what do you get with it for $160?
Yeah, you get that entire thing.
Like all of those figures?
Yes, all those figures.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
I mean, I could do it cheaper, but they could guarantee stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I mean, like for me, it would. I mean, that's just a good deal. If you're getting all of that with the bases and everything like that, go for it.
Bases are not included.
Oh, bases are not included. Yeah, I would just go with the Etsy stuff.
I was just going to buy the bases from Workshop, to be honest with you.
Oh, you fool.
Here's why. Here's my reasoning. They're not that expensive. They're 50 cents a base. And like I think 50 cents a base is reasonable enough that not having to do any work on the base is good enough for me.
Yeah. You do you, Steve. You do you.
Because all the alternatives I know of don't have the recess. Like because they're wood or whatever. And I'm gonna put magnets in there.
Oh, okay. So you want to do magnets,
right? Yeah, I want to do magnets. So I think that like I don't think 50 cents a base is that outrageous for what I want.
No, for any of the ones that I have to upgrade, like for an unusual size, like a 30 mil or whatever size, I'm just gonna 3D print them on my plastic printer, so I could put I do the recess because I print them upside down.
Oh,
yeah, I'm a fancy guy like that. I'm a fancy boy.
Yeah, no, because
fancy boy Jerry.
I thought the GW bases were a much bigger ripoff until I realized you get 100 bases for $50.
It's still kind of a ripoff.
I mean, it's not the best, but like,
I'm not gonna. I won't. I won't kink shame you.
I might actually. You know what? I might actually just search fucking Etsy to see if someone does bases. Because
eBay has the only one that I haven't really looked for is the new upgraded 30 mil and the upgraded cavalry bases. I'm sure someone is doing it somewhere, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at I think there's no, never mind. I'm gonna go with Etsy. I can get 100 bases for $14.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would just
so never mind. I could get 100 bases for $14. Yeah, I'll just do that.
Let's talk about some other stuff other than Games Workshop stuff. Not that necessarily exists.
Now everyone's turning off the podcast because they only wanted to hear about Workshop.
They only wanted to hear about 40K.
How dare you talk about Warhammer and not just talk exclusively about 40K? It's the only Warhammer that matters.
Yes, exactly. We're only Warhammer matters.
I've got one for you.
What's that?
I'll send to you. It's the WizKids. WizKids is making that stupid fucking doofy ass dragon from old D&D. Here, I'll send you the picture. Old editions of D&D. The WizKids is doing a model of that dumbass dragon in the cover.
I want that.
Yeah, it's the old. If anyone remember this, it's the red dragon laying on the pile of gold. And the face kind of looks like a 6-year-old drew it.
Yeah, it's got like cat eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's very 70s. I dig it. I like it.
Oh, I would get it as well.
It's from the cover on. It's from the cover of
I can't remember which one it is. Isn't it is it the Monster Manual?
It could be. Dude, I was at Half Price Books yesterday.
Yeah.
And someone had sold off their entire collection of Ravenloft. It was a near complete 2E Ravenloft collection.
I was gonna say 82E. Holy shit!
Wow. Yeah, it's there was the couple things that I needed that I saw right away that I picked up. So I picked up hold on.
Damn. While Joe's doing that, I'm actually just going to be here. You and I, dear listeners. Let's see what we can do here. I'm looking for which book this red dragon was the cover of.
Okay,
I think it was AD&D, the Monster Manual. Oh, Joe's back. All right.
Okay, I'm back.
Our adventure is concluded. It was unsuccessful.
So I got 2 box sets. I got Bleak House: The Death of Rudolf van Richten.
Nice.
Which is a set that I did not have before. I got a Light in the Belfry, which is one of the thinner boxes as an older release and a newer release. Excuse me. But it's also has the interactive audio CD on it.
I found the art. It is from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Monster Manual, not 2E.
The original.
Sorry. So that was the dragon style. The one that this is specifically done is it's the cover art of the Dungeons and Dragons basic set, original.
Okay.
The one that has the fucking stars and moons hat wizard on it.
Nice. Last thing I got was Van Richten's Guide to the Vistani. So, which is, and here's the thing, and I was just talking about this with the guys, is that I'm going to start selling off my 2E collection very soon.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I just, it's very nice to have, but to complete anything, like anything that I'm getting nowadays is just so expensive. I don't really want to maintain that type of collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to sell off a lot of my 2E, just like chunks of the 2E.
You know what? I know exactly where you're coming from, because that's something I like. I don't, if I have a collection of something and the value gets to a certain level, I literally, I'm like, all right, I gotta sell this.
Well, yeah, and I'm not selling it because I need the money or I want the money or like the money is too good. It's just that, all right, I enjoy the art of collecting, right? You have like a nice collection and you can display it. And 2E is actually like a really cool thing to collect because it doesn't take up that much space. I mean, yeah, I have 2 bookshelves full, but really if I worked at it, I could have like 1 bookshelf, but I have some nice stuff on display and everything else. And it's nice to have, but if I want to buy anything basic, the basic modules cost $20 now. And that's too much.
That's like for me. It's if the value gets too high, I don't want to keep something that's that valuable. It's just I don't. It's like I can't sit on something that's worth that much money. It's just like it just feels. I don't know. I feel weird about it.
No, and I get it. I totally get that, and I'm not gonna. I would not yell at anybody for doing that. My part of my issue with it is that I don't like the idea of the stuff getting out there and then just languishing because someone because they can't sell it for whatever inflated price they want to sell it at. Right?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. I've been following a lot of stories lately about like people who have died and their kids find their shit.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like they just dump it off because they just don't know or don't care. And then it's like these beautiful collections. Like there was a kid, his dad had passed and he wanted to open up a gaming store and he had everything for the gaming store in storage. But then before, like this is like 93, 94, right? And then right before he was about to open the store, the guy got really sick and he was sick for like 10 years. And then he passed and his family was like going through everything now. And they got to the storage locker or whatever it was that they had, and they opened it up, and it was all of this like pristine gaming stuff from the 1990s. So you think about like, Siege of the Citadel, like multiple copies of Siege of the Citadel in there, and like 2E, Second Ed, Warhammer 40,000 box sets, and all of this stuff, and blisters upon blisters of minis from all the different companies that were out in the 90s. And it's like this gorgeous thing, and you're just like, on one hand it's like, this is really cool and this collector should have this, but at the other time it's like they're not serving their purpose because they're not being used for actual gaming. So I feel very conflicted by that stuff.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah,
I know there was
okay, so like for example, Pat B, when he gets a new game, he'll play it.
Yes.
Right. Even if the game is terrible from like the 1997 visual motion computer game for the 3DO, he'll put it on and play through that awful fucking game.
Yes,
because he believes the game should be played.
Yes, which I very much respect.
Yes, I respect it too. Maybe not respect Pat, but I respect the process. How can anybody be so mad at Pat? He's the nicest kid in the world, but whatever his opinion is, people will shit on his opinions.
It's true. He's got some kind of shiksa thing going.
He does. He's cursed.
Yes. I did see him say something that I thought was pretty innocuous, and like some people went in on him on it, and I was like, why? I was like, what the hell did he say? Like, he didn't say anything bad.
Like, I mean, I love the guy. He put up his Christmas decorations like the day before Thanksgiving, and I almost killed him. And then that's another thing. That's another example of like throwing chairs for opinions.
Mhm.
Like, I get mad at him, and I'm like cursing him out. And then I posted something about watching Die Hard, and he goes, "Oh, watching Die Hard. You watched Die Hard a little bit early." I said, "Well, yeah, it's a little early for summer because it's a summer movie." And then it's like it went on from there for a little bit. And then for Christmas this year, I printed out Christmas decorations of Hans Gruber falling off Nakatomi Tower saying Merry Christmas, but Die Hard debuted in July of whatever 1985. And he goes,
That's
you
great.
you made this because of me, right? And I said, absolutely.
That's great.
You know, it's not only am I throwing chairs, but I'm also flipping you onto a pile of Legos. That's the way that I'm going to argue with you.
I love it.
Yes. So, yeah, I don't. Oh, the Dungeons and Dragons WizKid thing. That's what we're talking about. How gets to that?
Oh yeah. And so that's just the first. They're doing a whole bunch of classic, iconic D&D minis from the old style. It's going to be for that figure, the dragon I sent you. That one's standalone. You'll be able to buy that in a box by itself. But they're
for $120.
Probably something around those lines. I think so, mostly. Well, I don't know. WizKids figures are weird. Like some of them are crazy expensive. Some of them are not.
Really, you're absolutely correct on that. Some of them are just like batshit crazy.
Yeah, and then some of them are like, oh, that's cheaper than I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're doing a 50th anniversary booster set, and they are really using a bunch of just old ass. So there's the theme, like they're actually so. As far, I mean, I won't get it obviously because I don't need 3D miniatures for role playing. Yeah, I'm actually making tokens myself. I just bought a bunch of old Magic cards and old stuff, and I've been using a hole punch, and you can just glue them on bases. But anyway, sorry, that was like a fucking total tangent that had nothing to do with anything. But
yeah, welcome to Game Classy. I'm your host, Joe.
Yeah. So what they really did is they did an excellent job of making a real, like a legit through the ages set. So what they have is there's a classic version of each figure and then a modern version of each figure. So like, for example, there is a classic Knoll. So like it's how the Knolls kind of looked a little goofy before. There's that figure, and then there's the modern Knoll, which is like it looks, like a Knoll you'd expect it to look like. There's like slimes too. So there's goofy slimes that have like eyeballs. And then there's the more modern slime that does not. Ifrit is a real good one. Like they have that classic red Ifrit that's been on the cover of old ass books where it's got the real goofy kind of like Japanese Oni style looking face. And then they have one that just looks like a contemporary Ifrit style of the aesthetic. And like the dragon too, same thing. They have the doofy looking red dragon, and then they have a modern looking red dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's like these are all drawn by amateurs of the 1970s, so you can't be too harsh on them.
Oh no, I do. I sorry, I didn't mean to be harsh. It's literally like if you and your friends were like, let's draw this monster. They were not professionals. They were just the people who are writing the rules.
Well, and that's what you look at the original release of Dungeons and Dragons. Like when Gary Gygax was playing Dungeons and Dragons originally, they were using plastic monsters that he bought at the dollar store, like the Rust Monster and all of those famous monsters that are kind of unique to Dungeons and Dragons were from the dollar store toy bin.
Yeah, they were just random ass toys.
They were old Japanese kaiju monsters that were just repainted and thrown at dollar stores for cheap, and so they would pick them up and they would use them in their D&D games.
Yeah,
and that's basically how they played it. So yeah, they all look doofy because they're all based on 70s or 60s and 70s Japanese kaiju monster doofy toys.
Yes,
pretty much. Yeah, but so that sounds cool. I mean, for the old school players.
Yeah, that's neat, and I do like the idea of having the classic, the classic doofy version of something versus like, you know, the more modern, like highly produced version, just because that's a cool side by side to have.
Oh yeah. So I want to talk just a couple Kickstarters before we close, and a couple Kickstarters and a board game. One that had slipped my radar, and I just discovered it. And people are gonna say I discovered it because of Shut Up and Sit Down, but yeah, that's kind of how it happened. So two Kickstarters. One is gonna end probably before this podcast pops up, which I feel sorry about, and I feel bad about it. But Redbox Games has a really cool limited release 28mm metal figures coming out.
All right, that's sick.
Yeah, and they're really cool looking. Just like very nice looking D&D guards kind of like characters. You can look them up. I feel bad that I forgot. I mean, they might be in resin, not metal, but they look really cool. And it's a very limited release, so I would just check that out. The Conan Kickstarter. Have you seen the Red Nails Kickstarter?
Oh, I haven't. No.
So they're doing the board game, which I thought was like, I was really weird. It's like I thought this game was dead, but hey, it's still rocking strong.
Okay, so the full, so here's what happened. So Monolith made that board game. It was a pretty decent success on Kickstarter. Then they had production issues, and the only thing that anyone could fucking find forever was just the base game. You couldn't find any of the expansions, so the game kind of like languished a bit. Like it wasn't able to grow because nobody could fucking play it, because the only thing you do is buy the base game. And for all intents and purposes, the base game was fine, but it was not the game. Like you needed the expansions.
This is Conan the board game is one of those games that Steve and I have talked about where it's like, if you're playing, this is your game. This is what you're going to be playing.
Yes. If you're going to play Conan, you're going to play Conan. This is the game to play. Like you just play this game. And then of course, Modiphius was doing the RPG. So when the license went to renew for Modiphius, they didn't renew it, and Monolith picked it up. And so what Monolith is doing now is they're re-releasing the board game. They're focused on, actually supporting it. And then also Monolith is going to be the stewards of the RPG now. So if you want to play the Conan board game and also have an RPG, the same company is making both now.
Yes. And so you could get everything for about, what is it, $260 US right now. There's like about a week left.
Yeah, I mean, good deal. It's a lot of shit.
It's a lot of shit, and a lot of it there's not a ton of risk in this one, because
Monolith is a trusted company.
Yeah, there's some things that are going to be a little harder to get, but it's you get a fuck ton of stuff.
I also really like that this is the first Conan the Berserker miniature I think I've ever seen, which is the iconic Frank Frazetta, where Conan's on the big black horse and he's got his arms spread wide with the shield and sword.
Arms wide open.
With arms wide, with Crom wide open.
Yes, with Crom wide open.
That's right.
Crom cares not for your god.
That's right.
Yeah, so I mean, I would check it out. It's definitely. Oh yeah, God, that's a cool looking model.
Yeah, isn't it? It's fucking cool.
Conan the Berserker. Yeah. So I would totally if you're interested, if you're a Conan fan, the minis alone are kind of worth it for that amount. They're that rustic, I believe, right? They're like plasticky resin.
Yes.
I believe that's the case. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that.
I believe they're rustic as well. I also don't quote me, but I'm fairly certain that's correct.
So yeah, keep that. And then the board game that I was Shut Up and Sit Down had done, I haven't even watched the review yet, but they were talking about it, so I looked into it, and I might actually buy this. Is Ticket to Ride Legacy?
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm not huge into the Legacy games because I don't think I play board games enough to really get into it. Legacy is like, okay, we really fucking like Pandemic as a game group.
The thing that's
we want to take that to the next level.
As someone who's played Legacy games a lot, one of the fun things about it is that you don't actually need to be into Legacy, because it's literally like you don't need to remember anything, because the way that those games work is they adjust the rules, but you adjust the rules on the fly. So like example, if there's a space on the board that's blank, and in Legacy you add like it becomes a danger space or whatever, you literally put a sticker permanently on the board. So there's nothing to remember about that. So just the next time you play, the game will just be changed.
Yes. I really so it's Ticket to Ride, Legends of the West Legacy, right? So it's all about old timey trains too.
I mean, that sounds fucking cool.
And all of the like specific not add-ons, but like the legacy part is like puzzle pieces that get added to the board. So as you expand westward, you add puzzle pieces to the board.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they have like California, Cascadia, Sierra Madre, Great Plains, the Haunted Wastes. I don't know what that means. The Badlands, Open Range, and Florida.
Nice.
And each one has like a puzzle piece that's added to it onto the board. My family likes Ticket to Ride. I think it's a fun, fast game that everyone like. The rules are not super complicated.
Mm.
So I think that this might be one that like my wife, myself, and my daughter can play and, you know, have fun with it over time. So
Sounds good.
Shut Up and Sit Down did a review of it, and they're one of the few YouTube channels that I follow. So I'm interested in seeing their review. They might shit all over it for all I know, because sometimes they're really hard to pin down. Like sometimes Shut Up and Sit Down loves something, and sometimes they just utterly will shit on something.
I see.
Most of the time, they give middling reviews to everything. They're like, we like this, but it's a shit game. That's kind of what
I can feel that vibe.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome to Game Classy, where we talk about other podcasts.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about Red Letter Media? They just did a review of Glenn Danzig's new movie.
The most recent thing I saw was they did a Star Trek trivia where where the host guy had to wear the Discovery uniform.
The loser has to wear the Discovery uniform.
Yes.
I do enjoy them. They're good Midwest folk. Anyway,
those trivia questions are bullshit, man. They do some fucking
gnarly hard questions. Yeah,
they do some gnarly questions that I do not like. Like there's like the one it's the episode where they it's like how many engineering crew were beamed down to the planet in this episode, and it's like what what kind of a fucking question is that? I mean the answer is 50, but
yeah.
but still.
Like, I mean I only got like maybe 2 questions they were asking correct.
They're legit hard because they're obscure minutia rather than like generalized like lore trivia.
Yeah, or trivia about lore.
Hey. Although I couldn't believe they got one wrong that I couldn't believe. I was like really shocked by, but it was what's the first episode that Data imitated other crew members' voices?
It's Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah, it's literally the first fucking episode.
That was one that I knew.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that they got that wrong.
Yeah, it happens.
That's true.
All right. So, do we have any other gaming news that we want to talk about?
No, I think that's it, man.
All right. So, go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to get the link to the Game Classy Discord, where we actually talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, we got 300 episodes coming up in 2 weeks. Got to figure out what I want to do with that.
Yes, indeed. At some point, someone else is going to join our fucking Total War campaign. Me and Daddy Massive have been playing.
So yeah, if you want to play Total War,
yes, please do. I would love another player. It would be sweet.
And you could join that up through the Discord. Our Discord is fairly active.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You could also, if you want more Steve and Joe, or you want to help out the podcast, you can like, comment, subscribe on the iTunes. You can like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes. I don't know why, but you can do it. YouTube is awful and should be punished for what it is. If you'd like to,
no, that's true. Even as someone who uses YouTube constantly, I also agree.
Yeah. You could, if you want to get more, see more of Joe and Steve, you could follow me at Instagram at GameClassyJoe. That's where I'm probably most active. Not posting as much anymore, but once I finish the Warlord Titan and the Warlord, I'll probably be posting more figures that I'll be painting. I'm just kind of slogging my way through that guy. And if you want to see Steve at Blue Sky, what's your handle?
Command Throw.
At Command Throw on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
So Steve, until 2 weeks from now, until episode 300.
I am not going to eat them, but please someone try the foot-long treats from Subway and tell me how they are.
Okay.
They're doing so. I guess they're called foot-long sidekicks. There are three options. Each one is a foot long. They have a churro for $2. They have a pretzel for $3 and a fucking chocolate chip cookie for $5. And all of them are a foot long. So you can get a foot of cookie for $5.
Anyway, have a good night, people.
Later.
Game classy.